Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit up to $250. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back, all from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Saturday, May the 8th, race number 10 at Belmont Park. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 1 Man o' War Stakes. We're going 1 3/8 miles on the inner turf. Download those free formulator past performances on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us. We've got an Irish Derby winner in the field, the number 1 Sovereign making his first start for Chad Brown, and we've got the number 8 Gufo making his first start against older horses. This horse showed a tremendous amount of potential last year at 3.
Yeah, Gufo certainly did. He was a really good 3-year-old, Dan. The only 2 losses, and they were narrow losses, came to the same horse, and that horse just happens to be, you know, really, really good for Chad Brown, a horse named Domestic Spending, who ran a huge race last weekend.
Let's throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector for this year's edition of the Man o' War. I don't expect there to be a tremendous amount of pace signed on in this race, Mike. The 7 field pass is versatile. He can go to the lead if necessary. He seems more like a stalker, but if you go all the way back to that Audubon Stakes last year at Churchill Downs, he was able to make the lead, he was able to slow down the pace, and he was able to sprint on home. I guess the question for him is the additional distance.
It is, and it's. I guess it could be also be a little bit of a question of class, Dan. He's facing some real good horses in this race, so you know we'll see whether he makes the lead or not. I don't know. He certainly could. The 1 Sovereign isn't on the pace projector because we don't have any data for him with all foreign races, but that he was a horse who showed speed over that.
This is a horse that won the Irish Derby on the lead at 33-1 in 2019. And unfortunately, after that race, he went to the sidelines. And while he wasn't successful last year in his 5 starts for Aidan O'Brien, he was a good second in the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes behind Superstar Enable. Now with Chad Brown off the layoff, he's a dangerous horse, Mike. But again, that big win came at 33-1. He won't be that price on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the real problem, Dan. You know, I won't be surprised when he runs well in here, but he is a very short price on the morning line. Again, not facing a bunch of pushovers. And his claim to fame is winning that Irish Derby at 33-1, where, you know, they were basically using him as a pace setter over there for some of his stablemates. That day, he just forgot to stop. And, you know, the other big, you know, race on his page, the second to Enable, there was a 3-horse field, Dan. They let him set the pace. Enable ran him over in the stretch. And the only other horse in the race didn't fire.
3rd start of the form cycle for the number 2, Moon Over Miami. Let's watch his last race at Gulfstream, Grade 2 Pan American. Churn and Burn, the winner of this race, just kind of freaked out on the lead. Moon Over Miami ran very well to be second. He's in good form, maybe sneaky good form.
That's what I think, Dan. I mean, I think it's a real question of whether he's going to turn out to be, you know, a real true Grade 1 kind of turf horse. Maybe he's just not going to be that good. But I can make excuses for each of his last 3 starts, including that one we just watched right there where Churn and Burn just got loose, an even pace. I mean, just look at the times on that page. They went 24, 24, 24. Nobody challenged this horse. And I don't know what Junior Alvarado was waiting for, but he did not make a move in that race until they got to the stretch. Even Sadler's Joy ran past him on the turn while this horse just sat there, and then he rallied way too late to get second. He was very unlucky 2 starts back in the Mac Diarmida, where I personally think he was best, and he got totally stopped in the upper stretch and got out too late. I just think he's better than he looks on paper.
Ziad, the number 3, was a group winner in France, and maybe he'll take up the running as he did in the 2019 Canadian International. My problem with that race is I don't know how he didn't win it, setting those glacial fractions on the lead as the favorite, and he hasn't won since. Let's go back to his last start, the Red Smith at Aqueduct, his final start of 2020 as a 5-year-old. As you see, there was just a runaway leader at a gigantic price. Zayad's going to make the first run into this horse. He's going to make the lead, and he's going to get run down in a race that kind of fell apart late. All in all, this was a good effort.
Yeah, he runs fine in here. I mean, I think you could certainly make the argument that he went a little too soon in this race. You can see those 2 horses come and get him right at the end. On the other hand, and the only reason I'm not buying that argument, Dan, is that you've already mentioned the horse that was on the lead was 1,000,000 to 1 And this horse did come and run him down in the stretch, and then he just got outfinished at the end. I thought he ran fine in there. Like you, I have a tough time getting past that Canadian International. I know it was 2019. I don't know how he didn't win that race. Loose on a slow pace. The horse that beat him had all kinds of trouble in there and still came and ran him down at the end. I don't know. This horse is good, obviously, and he can win this race at 6-1. I have no argument with him. I just don't love it.
One of the rank outsiders in here is the 4 So High. Let's watch his last race. 3rd place effort and an entry-level allowance. His most recent win, however, came for a $25,000 tag. This horse is what he is right now, and that's a horse that's a little bit too slow to win.
Yeah, he just looks like he's in way over his head in here. This trainer has upset one of these Grade 1 turf races in New York in the past with a huge long shot. It would certainly be at least as big an upset if this horse was to find a way to win. Dan, he just looks like he's in over his head.
Channel Cat is closing in on the $1 million mark in career earnings. He's been an honest turf horse for a long time. He is a graded stakes winner in his career, and it looks like perhaps he's getting back into form. Let's watch his last race, the Grade 2 Elkhorn at Keeneland over good going. Thought he moved a little early in this race, Mike, but he's pretty game. Say the word, the horse that beats him is in very good form right now.
Yeah, I think the horse that he's second to in here is probably one of the better long-distance turf horses in this country right now. And Say the Word just happened to be much the best in this race. But Channel Cat ran fine. He got a good trip. He was second best at the end of the day here. He has races in his past that would make him really tough in here, Dan, but you got to go back to 2019 to get to those.
And he's always a little quirky with his lead changes. It seems he hops back and forth at just the most inopportune times. I wonder if that's cost him. Sham Rocket's taking a big step up in class for Todd Pletcher, pardon me. Let's watch his second place effort at Tampa Bay last time out against Florida Birds. This horse has always hinted at something, and he's going to really have to prove it against this tough field. But as we see at Tampa, he's in behind horses. He's going to move on with a late bid, and something tells me he's going to really appreciate getting back out to this distance.
Yeah, I think longer distances are probably good for this horse. He does have a pretty good finish to him when he gets the right kind of a trip. He still has never run a race that's going to give him a real chance against a field like this, Dad. I mean, he just has to take a huge step forward.
Field pass is very underrated for Mike Maker, whether it's synthetic or turf. He can come from off the pace. He can win from on it. And last time out, he really wasn't embarrassed in the Maker's Mark, considering it was his first start off the layoff. He caught Raging Bull, who might turn out to have a giant 2021. 101 buyer for field pass, going to be a pace presence, and he's going to be a price for a great trainer.
Yeah, I mean, all those things are true. We'll see if he gets the distance. I guess that's the real question for him in this race. He ran fine last time. I mean, all in all, considering how strong that race was and that he was off the layoff in there, I do think he probably took a step forward. He was a 5-time stakes winner last year for Maker, just really underrated. We'll see if he can take a step forward here. I think he's another one who probably has to improve to win.
Really looking forward to the seasonal debut of the 8 Gouffo. 8 for 8 on the board last year, including this effort in the Hollywood Derby, coming off the heels of a victory in the Belmont Derby. Gouffo, Mike, I mean, he followed the winner, Domestic Spending, all the way around there. He swung wide into the stretch. He's flying late. He just misses. Domestic Spending, of course, came back to dead heat for the win in the Turf Classic. Smooth Like Straight, the second-place finisher, he came back to win. The fourth-place finisher came back to win. This Hollywood Derby was live. You know this horse is going to be running late. It's all about, does he get the right setup?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have that much speed, but you can just see in that video, you can go back and pull any one of the replays of his races, Dan. He's a strong finisher, this horse. He has a big kick to him in the stretch. It's an interesting spot for them to start him back off in this race, going 1 mile and 3/8, because it's not like they kept him going long all last year, Dan. He's a really good horse. We'll see what he does.
Couple of bullets on his page setting him up for this race. Let's take a look at our top picks. That's where I'm going to go. I just think he's going to kick these horses down. He has a tremendous amount of potential. I'm a little bit interested in Field Pass as well, but you're keeping the faith with Moon Over Miami. Horse that's had a little bit of trouble in his races.
He has. Listen, I'm kind of married to this horse at this point. I have to give him one more chance. Again, I'm not, sure that he's definitely going to turn out to be one of the better, sort of grade 1 type turf horses this year, but I do think he's pretty good. I got to stick with him off of what I think are 2 bad trips in his last 2 races. And again, this is a race where I don't love the Europeans, Dan.
And I respect Gouffo's consistency. Again, never off the board in his career. He's going to come running late. We'll see if he can run him down in the Grade 1 Man of War. 2831 for Mike, 8713 for me. Best of luck.